for the I Beg to Differ debate, and Excel gets to the finals, while Mazida score is brilliant, but she didn't quite make it. Remember, this is the very first edition here in the Federal Capital. They've done it 7 times in Lagos, the first time in Port Harcourt, and they already have their winners and their top 4 waiting to get those from the Federal Capital to join them. The winner from here will go home with 1 million naira. However, the best 4 will represent the FCT in Lagos for the national. And, the topic, the motion they're going to be debating on is something that a lot of you would get very emotional about. So I would advise you to try and be very logical as you listen and evaluate their point. Remove emotions aside, okay? And logically reason through with them as they make their argument. We have the second group for the round of 8 in the studio with us, and any minute now we get to introduce them and we'll get to hear their argument. Don't forget that I Beg to Differ is powered by Press Pay NG. It supports students' education here in Nigeria. 3J's Restaurant and Hotel is giving us the comfort that we need, and I'm sure the debaters can attest to that. And Call to Fly Travels and Tour will see that we take our best 4 to Lagos for the national. Our judges are impartial, they are credible, and I tell you, they give their 100% to this. Majid Dahiru, researcher, columnist, tech team lead of Luxterra Leadership Foundation. Irene Bangwell, co-founder of a school called NOSC 100 Naira a Day School, is in Kuje Area Council. She's a coach and she's a girl coach also. They are the 2 hands we trust to critically listen to our debaters in the studio. They are going to listen to a lot of things beyond just the point being reeled out. They're going to look at the number of points made by the debaters. They're going to look at the quality of their argument. They're going to look at the originality of the points that they make. And their eloquence will be something that will add or subtract from them of their presentation. When we get to the rebuttal, the number of points made by the opponent that you can argue on is something they will look at also. The strength of your rebuttal, the clarity of your thought, eloquence of your presentation. We state this so that you understand that it's not just from one angle. There are a lot of things they're going to rate them on. And that is what we'll see today.
All right. Should we start with the topic or the debaters first?
Oh, yeah. We will start with the... Which one do you pick?
Let's allow people to settle into the topic. So topic first.
All right. The topic is apt, I tell you.
Yes, it is.
Because it will help them negotiate better, as maybe it will not influence much, but hey, it's an apt one. The proposed sum of 494,000 is a realistic minimum wage for Nigeria, is the motion they'll be debating on.
So, and our debaters this evening are Cindy Paul Onyeka and Muhibah Jibril Aladejana.
We welcome the both of them. Now, Cindy Paul is our surprise comeback. Cindy Paul happens to be the only person from the round of 16 who lost out to the opponent but was invited back based on her point.
Yes, indeed.
Point was strong, and she's back for the quarterfinal. Let's applaud her for that. Muhibah Jibril scaled through her argument last week with her opponent and earned her place on the table today. Muhibah argued on is poverty a solvable problem in Nigeria or an inevitable reality? And she faced off with an opponent and scaled through, while Cindy faced off with Omar Benedi Excel, who just left the studio, and her point was so great. After the final computation, she's back for the quarterfinal. So, face to face with our Muhibah Jibril. You have our debaters, you have the topic, the motion. Let's see what side they pick. All right, so what happens is they don't take a side or they don't pick a side. They come up with point for either side of the argument, for or beg to differ. It's in the studio live, as you can see right now. So be handing them a piece of paper to pick what side of the debate they're going to be on. And once they open, they will tell us if they are for or they beg to differ. So who is supporting the motion?
I am.
All right. Muhibah supports the motion that the sum of 494,000 naira is a very realistic minimum wage for Nigerians, while Cindy begs to differ.
All right, as we would typically do, the person supporting the motion gets to start first. So, Muhibah, are you ready?
Yeah.
Your 3 minutes starts now.
Good day, esteemed moderators, impartial judges, my fellow debater, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Muhibah Jibril Aladejana. I'm from High Scholars International Academy, and I'm here to support the motion which states that the proposed sum of 494,000 naira is a realistic minimum wage for Nigerians. First of all, I would like to talk about fair compensation. The NLC president explained that an average Nigerian family consisting of about 6 dominant members and 4 direct dependents spend about 615,000 naira on accommodation, feeding, water, utilities, and other expenses per month. So don't you think it's more realistic to have a sum of money that will properly be able to support at least most of their expenses? Furthermore, I would also like to talk about economic growth. If we are able to increase the amount of money that is paid to workers, we'll also be able to help our economy by reducing poverty in our society. In addition, let's also talk about In addition, let's also talk about the reduction in income inequality. Nigeria we all know that there is a huge gap between the rich and the poor in Nigeria. So increasing the minimum wage would help to reduce that gap and also reduce poverty as well in our struggling economy. So in Nigeria, the minimum wage will help a lot, and our economy will greatly benefit from increasing the minimum wage. Thank you.
All right. Muhibah started off, when you're running a marathon and you start with a bolt, the energy. And at one point, you started thinking, did I start too fast? Maybe I should slow down a little. Allow some people to catch up with me, then I'll go pew again.
But that's the thing. She could have kept up the energy because you still had about 45 seconds left. So you still had time.
Yeah.
But it's okay. All
right, it's okay. So we had Muhibah Jibril with her opening presentation on the minimum wage, 494,000 naira. Is a realistic minimum wage for Nigeria. She supported it with her argument, and I'm sure NLC agrees with her. However, her opponent begs to differ. Cindy.
All right, Cindy, let's hear your arguments. 3 minutes is what you have. As I always say, use it wisely. Your time starts now.
While I can acknowledge the intention to improve livelihoods, I believe that this figure, which is over 1,000% increment, is not entirely realistic given current economic realities. Good afternoon, panel of judges. Good evening, panel of judges, moderator, accurate timekeeper, my co-debater, and the esteemed audience. My name is Cindy Paul from Roberto Schools, Wusetu, Abuja, and today I'm going to be opposing the motion which states that the proposed sum of 494,000 naira is a realistic minimum wage for Nigerians. First of all, I'd like to talk about the national budget. The national budget for 2024 has already been set, and the national budget for 2024 has already been set, and I believe if there is an increase in the minimum wage, it's to affect budget not just set by government but also in households. If the increase is to be made and government is to employ minimum wage workers, then the budgets will have to be adjusted to accommodate this change. Just like the government, households also have a budget set, and if there is an increase in the income, it will lead to increase in consumer spending, which can indirectly affect business and government tax revenue. When talking about tax revenue, we have to understand that it's not entirely a positive thing, as increase in tax revenue can cause a number of problems, such as reduction in disposable income and the disincentive to work and invest. Secondly, I'd like to talk about my opponents made a point about bettering the economy. I'd like to talk about the fact that if this increase is to be made, it will lead to mass job loss, as the increase would make labor costs more expensive. It will also cause businesses to invest in automation and other labor-saving technologies to make up for the increase in labor costs, and also replace these minimum wage workers. It can also lead to cost-push inflation and demand-pull inflation, and overall a wage price spiral, which is when workers in other sectors begin to bargain for higher wages, and it leads to a cycle of wage demand and so on. Now that I talked about the disadvantages of this increase, I would also like to explain why exactly it is not a realistic minimum wage in a country like Nigeria. We have to understand this is for Nigeria. This is argued by the Labour Congress of Nigeria. We have to understand that the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said that if this increase is to be made, then Nigeria will be amassing 9.3 trillion naira yearly in expenses. Can a country like Nigeria, with Nigeria's GDP, actually afford this amount? Not just that, currently, as of now, the national budget is at a $2.2 million deficit, meaning that our income is $2.2 million less than our expenses. Not just that, we also have to understand that the minimum wage was increased from 30,000 to 45,000 naira on April 1st, and some states are still outstanding and unable to pay that. If a man without a shoe is promising other people shoes, can the man actually provide these shoes? That's the state the government will be at the moment. So in conclusion, while the intention to improve livelihoods is noble, it's actually not realistic given current economic realities.
All right. I don't have shoe vote for me came to mind while she was talking. But I'm sure that's not what she meant when she brought the shoe illustration to the debate. All right, you've heard Cindy saying it's not realistic at all. That's the first round. Their presentation is done. And we'll move on to the next, which will be the rebuttal. We'll get to see how much of your opponent's argument you picked out and how much of it you throw out the window.
Let's hope they were both listening intently.
Mm-hmm. All right. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll get to the rebuttal. This is I Beg to Differ, round of 8, the quarterfinals of the debate here in the Federal Capital. Don't forget the prize money, 1 million naira to the winner of this debate, and the best 4 get to represent us in the Federal Capital. I Beg to Differ is powered by Press Pay NG, 3J's Restaurant and Hotel, and Call to Fly Travels and Tour. Thank you for being a part of this. But let's go on a break. We'll be back with more.
I Beg to Differ. Coming back.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Nwachukwu. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Connection established.
We have the second set of the round of 8 with us in the studio. Just in case you're wondering, we're in the quarterfinals of the I Beg to Differ debate. Facing off today in the studio, we have Muhibah Jibril from I Scholar International School. She's 13. She's facing off with Cindy Paul from Rabeto Schools here in the Federal Capital. He's 14 years old, and they are arguing based on the motion around the minimum wage that is being proposed, and saying that
494,000
is a realistic minimum wage for Nigeria.
Kim, were you trying to reduce the amount by default?
All right, and they have taken their position for and against. Muhibah supports the motion. Cindy Paul begs to differ. We'll get to the next round, the rebuttal phase. Number of points you're able to pick from your opponent will determine how you play this round.
All right, we will be starting at this point with Muhibah. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, breathe in and out. 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, once again, my name is Muhibah Jibril Aladejana, and I'm from I Scholars International Academy. So, Cindy, you talked about you talked about taxation. Yes, I believe that people will be taxed more with the increase of minimum wage. But with that amount, isn't it possible that the taxation won't greatly affect their expenses they are allowed to spend? And you also talked about the budget, Nigerian budget. Just because a budget is set does not mean it cannot be changed. Many people have been seen to change their budget, so it does not mean that it's a final decision that is made by the people. You also talked about the Nigeria's income. Nigeria's GDP has been seen to reach up to 6 trillion naira. So don't you think that Nigeria will be able to pay their workers with this amount of income they've been gaining? Once again, you talked about unemployment. Yes, unemployment is a problem that will be faced. But if the people who lost their jobs are able to start businesses of their own in the tech field, as you said, in automation, they will also be able to gain a large amount of money from their new businesses. And also those that will have to sack people from their jobs, those people will actually have to increase the prices of their products, and that will be able to pay the workers so they won't actually need to sack people in the end. So I believe that I have restated your points, and I have explained them to my understanding. Thank you.
Now I truly understand why negotiations keep having inconclusive
some back and forth.
Because you're arguing and you're like, okay, I see your point, and then you go back and forth until somebody calls a strike. All right, so we've had Muhibah Jibril's rebuttal of Cindy's point. Let's turn to Cindy and hear what she has to say.
Okay, Cindy, 3 minutes for your rebuttal. Your time starts now.
Still standing on this existing protocol, my name remains Cindy Paul. While my opponents had some very key points that I can agree with, my opinion still differs with theirs. First of all, I'd like to make it clear to my opponents that we cannot keep in a country like Nigeria, we cannot keep talking about ifs and maybes. We cannot keep talking about what ifs. Those are conditional statements. What if this happens? Okay, what if it does not happen? My opponents also talked about one of my points, saying that most these people that lose their jobs can start up in the tech industry. I have to say that to start up a business, we need capital. Where are they going to get this capital from if they do not have any means of income? How are they going to bring up the amount of capital needed to invest in the tech industry, which is very capital inclusive? Also, my opponent talked about businesses increasing prices. Well, like I said in my presentation, that could lead to cost push inflation. This is where businesses increase prices to offset the price of labor, the cost of labor. My opponents also talked about my opponents talked. Okay. I'd like to say that. My opponent talked about Nigeria's GDP being at 6 trillion naira. Like I said in my presentation, the expenses incurred if this increment is to be made, it will be 9.3 trillion naira. Do those numbers add up? I believe those numbers do not add up. How can Nigeria be getting 6.6 trillion naira yearly and how can they pay these workers if the expense of paying these workers will be 9.3 trillion? I believe that would cause Nigeria to start borrowing more from these countries just because they're pressured into accepting this minimum wage spike. Also, I would also like to make it clear to my opponent that the minimum wage is the minimum amount that any worker can be paid, meaning that a cleaner in an office will be paid 494,000 naira, not to include the benefits that the office will have to get, not to include healthcare, not to include like all the benefits that they may receive. So if I'm paying a cleaner 700,000 plus, how much should I pay people like the directors or the managers? How much am I going to be paying them? And would that business still stand if I believe that all my workers should remain? In conclusion, I do believe that even with all that my opponents have said, this still does not have enough reason why that amount is realistic in a country like Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right. Cindy Paul has given her rebuttal to what the opponent said about her point. We've heard them clearly. In a game of football, I don't know the terminology, but when the tackle gets close, you start to really wonder who's going to throw that ball in. And there was a close one between them on the rebuttal here. But in my head, I leave it to the judges to do the final computation on this. We've had their rebuttal. And there's one more round to go before the bell rings. Mm-hmm. The closing. And I want to believe you're going to give us 100 in your closing, because what's at stake is 1 million naira. Nothing less than that level of closing is what is expected. So Muhibah Jibril was one who scaled through the round of 16 to get here, and you can see that she has put in the work this time around. Why Cindy Paul didn't quite in the first round, but her point was impressive and she came back, and they are head-to-head this time around. We get to see how they perform. We're going to break. When they return, they'll be giving us their closing. Thanks to PressPay NG, 3J's Restaurant and Hotel, and Call to Fly Travels and Tour.
I beg to differ. Going back.
Abuja, get ready for I Beg to Differ debate.
This is Nigeria Info.
Let's talk about something.
Nigeria Info Abuja edition of
I Beg to Differ.
I Beg to Differ.
I Beg to Differ student debate is back on. It's opened. And
16 active, intelligent, brilliant debaters for the I Beg to Differ debate.
Back on track right now.
And you can be a part of it if you are a secondary school student. You are age
13 to 16.
You can compete for a grand prize of
1 million naira.
So registration is open right now. And
if you go to our site, you see the debate questions. You give 4 and against in terms of your I Beg to Differ round of 8, the quarterfinal of the debate, and we have 8 people who scaled through to the quarterfinal. We already dealt with 2 of them. Excel and Mazida. And now we have Cindy and Muhibah with us in the studio looking at the minimum wage, 494,000. Is it a realistic wage for Nigeria? Muhibah supports it with her full chest, while Cindy Paul is begging to differ. Ultimate G says, Kim, this is a battle between NLC and FG in reality. The two opponents will argue in favor of their interests. The winner is directly proportional to the reality on ground. All right, then. Join us on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info. Get to see our debaters in the studio, Muhibah and Cindy, as they slug it out. We're at the final rounds of it, the closing, and the judges will tell us who gets to the finals.
Okay, ladies, let's get into our closing arguments and make sure that you have composed yourself and you are ready to start. Cindy, you will be kicking off this time around. 3 minutes. Your time starts now.
In conclusion, well, like I have said before, this figure is not realistic whatsoever, especially in a country like Nigeria, especially in a country that most of us, not only the moderators, not only the judges, but also the people listening, have lived in this country for years upon years, and they can also agree that this is not a realistic figure given our government. Where if there's an increase made, it can cause a number of problems. It can cause a shift in the budget. It can cause increase in tax revenue. It can cause a downfall in the economy. It can also deter foreign investment and so on. We have to understand that this is our country. This is the country that we live in, that we are talking about. This is the reality we face every other day, and we cannot be banking on the possibilities. We cannot be depending on the possibilities when it comes to the current state of the economy and the current state at the moment. It can cause inflation. It can cause so many other things. It can cause the economy that we're living in today, that a lot of people have been agreeing that is not favorable to, it become even less favorable for Nigerians. We also have to understand that this minimum wage is subject to government workers, and most working Nigerians as of today do not work under the government. So what will happen to the rest of the people in private sectors? What if the private sectors do not take up that minimum wage? What will happen to them? Won't it feel like injustice? The same injustice that a lot of people have been complaining about, that high wage earners are also getting more. When it comes to that injustice, I would also like to ask, can a cleaner and a director be getting the same amounts? Can they be getting the same pay? I feel like that is actually not fair for the director, saying that as they are putting in more work than the cleaner, or putting in more work than maybe the accountant or the person that goes and buys things for the business or the office or whatever. I feel like this is not going to be fair on their behalf, seeing as they put in work and put in efforts to try and maintain whatever business that they work in, and to be receiving the same pay as someone that barely does anything for the company. I'd also like to ask everybody out there: is Nigeria a country that can fully afford this 494,000 naira minimum wage, which is the minimum amount that any Nigerian should be getting? Let's also keep in mind that President Bola Tinubu has also said that they will be building a bridge in Abuja, which would obviously take a lot of money. Where is the remaining money going to come from if this increment is being made? Where is this money going to come from? We also agree that there is no money in the country. There is no money for us Nigerians and in the government. There is no money. Nigeria keeps borrowing from more countries, and they never pay back. How would they actually put up with this promise? And if they do agree that the minimum wage is going to be this, and they don't, people start complaining that they didn't fulfill promise.
Your time is up. Feels like that's the point when the government says, where's the money coming from? The NSC will stand up and leave they say people are not ready yet.
Well, thank you for your closing argument, Cindy. Time was 3 minutes on the dot. I hope you're able to wrap it up as neatly as you wanted to. Let's move over to Muhibah now, who will be giving us her closing argument as well. Muhibah, 3 minutes. Time starts now.
Okay. Once again, my name is Muhibah Jibril Aladejana, and yes, Cindy, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that there are many problems, but everything that has a disadvantage also has an advantage, and but there is also hope, and hope is what changes people. So I believe that if the main problem with this is the lack of circulation of money, if Nigeria's money is actually circulated properly with the amount of income we're making, and sorry, I made a mistake during my rebuttal. Nigeria actually makes 600 trillion, not 6 trillion. So with the proper circulation of money, I think it will actually be possible to pay people this much, because we need to survive, we need to eat, we need to pay for our expenses. So we actually need this money. I mean, we can get where it's good. We can get the government can improve their businesses, their trading, to help us get the money that we actually need. So I still stand at my point when I support the motion that the proposed sum of 494,000 naira is a realistic minimum wage for Nigerians. Thank you.
Muhibah, wrapping it up there with about half her time left to spare. Well, I think at this point, if that's all she has to say, then we'll close it out from here.
Well, we've had their presentation, we've had their rebuttal, we've had their closing argument, and we'll get to see what the judges decide in a few minutes, where they put the numbers together. Don't forget, this is the round of 8, the quarterfinal. The next winner gets to the finals, where we're shortlisting to the last 4 of them. They get closer and closer to the 1 million naira mark. However, the best 4 would represent the FCT at the Nationals in Lagos. The guys from Port Harcourt and Lagos are already waiting for them to join them. Thanks to Call to Fly, we'll be flying them to Lagos. 3J's Restaurant and Hotel has ensured that they're as comfortable as they can get. PressPay NG is a big supporter, ensuring that students get the funding, education funding that is required here in Nigeria. And so far, yeah, Swat, I can see that you're back on your feet. Says, great job, guys. Swat is listening. Good to know. We'll take some call. Right now, we haven't had the final whistle blow, meaning the judges have not given us their final verdict. So please do not declare any winner. Okay? Just keep your comment generic. When we find who the winner is for this round, then you can share your opinion for or against, if you agree or disagree, or what is the case with you. So for now, please, let's keep it neutral.
Hello? Hello, good evening.
All right, nobody home. 0700 951 0000.
Hello, good evening.
Oh.
Good evening, Sima.
Good evening, welcome.
Thank you. This is Sarah. I honestly enjoyed myself today. This is the first and the only time I've ever listened to I Beg to Differ. The first one was I was so emotionally drained with that appearance girl, and I'm happy she's came through. The second one was superb. In short, I think they are the best. Well, I hope that this last one, that the judges who has been doing a good job, all their decisions have been super. Because even the second one that people were saying that the two of them should go and all those things, they made the right choice. What we want from Abuja is the best, so that they can compete with those Lagos, Port Harcourt, and the others. Like everybody wanted. I'll be happy when they go there and they succeed and they win. I will be so proud of it. So the judges, please do your job very well. Do not look at sentiment. Do not look at what people say. Choose the best. Let the best for go and represent us in Lagos.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Hello. Good evening.
Okay, man.
Good evening. Welcome.
You can't catch me.
Why?
This is an adult baby. The adult baby. If those guys listen for the bill, they go down me, hands down.
You see, the money don't enter your head too much.
No, seriously, Kim, you cannot tell me those guys are children.
Hello?
Network.
Oh dear.
All right, we'll say Afizi is already in the studio with us, and we'll get the verdict from the judges. Remember, Majid Dahiru is one of our judges. Irene Bangwell is also a judge, and they are doing a thorough job of it so far. Ultimately, you say yes, all are not equal, but you can see, okay, still talking about Excel, talking about the previous one. Titi Layo showing can say, keep going, girl. And I see names dropped, those who are for team this, team that. I see. All right, we have the verdict in right now. Cindy Paul, who begged to differ on the motion that the proposed sum of 494,000 naira is a realistic minimum wage for Nigeria. For her presentation, she got 6. In her rebuttal, 3.5. Her closing score, 4. Her style of presentation, 11. In total, she got 24.5. Muhibah Jibril Aladejana, who supports the motion, got 5 in her presentation. In her rebuttal, 3.5. Her closing score, 4. Her style of presentation, 9. In total, she got 21.5. So, we'll say a very big congratulations to Cindy Paul, who gets to the finals of the debate. And we can't help but give a big congratulations also to Muhibah Jibril. I mean, if you followed, you deserve it. If you followed the round of 16, you notice that Muhibah stumbled quite a lot, even though she scaled through. Her point was 11, but she put in the work because she doubled the point this time around with 21.5. I mean, applaud her one more time. I love to see that level of improvement. She went home and they sat her down and said, Muhibah, do you know how much is at stake? She said, yes, 1 million naira. They say you have to do more. And she went back and she did more and gave us an impressive performance compared to the first opening that she had. She showed that indeed she's got it. So you keep that flag flying. All right? Congratulations to you. Cindy faced off with Excel, and boy, it was a tough one in which Cindy came next to Excel at the round of 16. Cindy closed with 30.2 points when she faced off with Excel, and this time around, her closing, there was a little stumbling, so her point dropped to 24.5, but you managed to skate through to the final this time around, so congratulations to you. The point matters also.
Yes, they do.
So we'll take a few phone calls. Can we take 2, 3, read some comments? Now that we have the verdict from our judges, we know who goes to the final. We can confidently hear what your take is. 0700 951 0000. You can call via WhatsApp on 0809 9930137.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kimberly. Good afternoon, Somi.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, Abubakar Aleki speaking, calling from PW Kubwa. I want to tell Cindy and Muhibah, for you to have stepped into that studio, you are winners already. We are proud of you. You gave your all, but at the end, a winner must emerge. I knew, even all the listeners knew that even the NH chairman cannot rig this one.
We did not laugh.
Yes,
we don't know what you're talking about. We plead the fifth.
The winner is so obvious. I hope you take this electrifying, jaw-dropping to Lagos and bring the trophy back to Abuja. We are proud of you. What an electrifying semi-final. we quarterfinal. We love that. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria Info. God bless all the sponsors, Dr. Majid and the other judge. We are proud of you. Thank you very much for the wonderful and amazing job. Goosebump everywhere on my body. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our other judge's name is Irene Bangwell. Thank you so much to our judges. Just like
please remember her name. Our school is doing amazing well, supporting children who cannot afford education. With just 100 naira, you can get an education in Kuje. That's what NOSC 100 naira day school is doing. And Irene Bangwe is the co-founder of that school also. Let's hear this caller.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Kim.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm calling you from Aladejana.
Go ahead.
I am proud of the... and I'm proud of you people who work doing. Please, Sister Kim, I want to find out something from this WAEC. I just tell you to continue writing WAEC for others.
Oh, God, we don't know what you're talking about. Continue writing WAEC. We say people are winning 1 million naira in the studio. You're bringing WAEC. But yes, we'll respond to that. I don't have that information on the go, but once I do, I'll furnish you with that. Just stay close to your radio, okay? I'll update you in a bit.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
Yeah, Dr. Zil from Life France.
Go ahead, sir.
I've been following the debate back to back since the debate started last week. And I want to commend everyone, especially the judges. They are not like our judges in the countries as they do whatever they do, but this one, they are unbiased. And because I'm also an educator and I'm one of the persons in this country that so much believe in debate and any speech competition, and I've been following to see whether there will be some form of lacuna or injustice, but I've not found any so far. So kudos to them, because all the winners have always been meritorious. It has not been anyhow. So I want to commend Nigeria Info and the judges. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zeal.
Yeah, we do not call them impartial panel of judges for nothing.
It's the fact that he said he was following up to see if there was going to be any.
You were like, look, we see what our foul play good day.
Election observer. We see you, Dr. Zeal. Thank you so much. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
To the show, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Well done to Kim, to everyone there. My name is Joshua.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well done, guys. And just like the last caller said, kudos to all the contestants. They've really tried. I was just thinking that your returning officer, that's LFEC, has never been kidnapped or the electoral material stolen. So is it possible for Nigerian Info to help the Nigerian government, if you can send the method you're using to the Senate? Let's really know how you guys are doing it. That LFC has not been kidnapped or the results stolen.
Joshua, you've got jokes, huh?
Joshua! Well done, Josh. All right. They commend our judges. They say they're impartial. Someone says he has just been waiting. Apparently, he's been listening to the debaters and then also the figures coming from the judges to seeing where he can tackle them and say, Nzobu would have started. We no go agree, but we thank God we have the very finest who are doing this. When money is involved, we have to get the finest.
Yes, indeed.
Men and women with integrity.
1 million naira.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody should say 1 million naira doesn't mean anything in Nigeria's economy. It's a lot of money.
It is indeed. And then to our returning officer, I mean, how he travels to us. Maybe because we don't have...
I mean, we ensure that his security detail is intact. We make sure that there is vehicle. Not that when it's time to come, they will say the vehicle hasn't arrived. Logistics is on point.
No problem with the collation center.
At all.
Returning officer. Now it hits me. LFEs is truly the returning officer.
Impartial, incorruptible returning officer.
Yeah. We have them in Nigeria.
Yes, we do. Galiwale says, congratulations to the contestants. Endpoint E says, great job by both girls. Kudos to them. We see every other person with the comments that you have. Thank you for sending your comments as well. We really appreciate you all.
Indeed, we do. Let's hear this call. I think we can take one or two more and then wrap it up.
Hello, welcome. Yeah, hello, good evening, welcome.
Yeah, please, I want to comment on the program. It has been a very wonderful program, educative, considering how people prepare these kids to come and, wrap up debate like elders. And I think, the government also should support this program in terms of, the prize money, instead of organizing down trolls, that's not glorified. So I believe this is good for future generations. Well done.
Thank you very
much. All right. I think it's a healthy place for us to wrap it up here. It's been intense and interesting and a shot fired from both sides. We've heard the verdict. Cindy gets to the finals while our girl, did impressively well from the playoffs. She showed us that she's got what it takes. And we say big congratulations to the both of them. That's all for today. Tomorrow's 3 p.m. we'll return with another set for the round of 8. And it would make for another very engaging debating session.
Indeed it will. But just before we go, I think we have to acknowledge the people who helped prepare these children, the parents, the teachers, anyone who was involved in the contestants' preparation as far as, up until now. I think a kudos to you. In fact, a round of applause for you. Well done. Well done, Dr.
I can sense, either their parents or guardian waking them, wake up. You can't be sleeping.
1 million naira.
I feel like the parents were putting too much, were they putting pressure on you? Because, some parents come from the economic aspect. Where you're looking at the academic argument, there are people who already did, a bag of rice is this.
Honestly.
All right, well, kudos to the parents, the teachers, those who supported them with the point and preparation level. We appreciate you and we see the good work that you're doing also. Well, 2 people have gone to the final round of the I Beg to Differ debate. We have Excel, we have Cindy. We're expecting 2 more to join them. So tomorrow we'll get a find out who gets to join them tomorrow. And then Wednesday we'll take the last set who joined the finals because we needed to give DKMD, who qualified today, some days to just prep herself. And then Wednesday we'll get to hear their final argument also. So that's about the size of our package for the debate today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you missed the debate, the first, the second, the third, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook at Nigeria Info. Thanks to PressPay NG Nigeria for supporting the debate with the finances and all. Thanks to 3J's Restaurant and Hotel for the comfort they've brought to our debaters, their parents and everyone. Thanks to Call to Fly Travels and Tour for ensuring that the best 4 will fly to Lagos to represent the capital. We thank our judges, Majid Dairu, Irene Bangwell for the good job. Thank you guys. We appreciate you so much. Somi?
Yes. It has been fun today.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, then we will hand over the studio back to the OTF herself to continue with the rest of the show.
Indeed.
All right, then. Bye-bye.
Abuja, get ready for I Beg to Differ debate.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Nwachukwu. I'm the host of Hard Facts. And I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
This is Nigeria Info.